ねもしも全て投げ捨てられたら笑って生きることが楽になるのまた胸が痛くなるからもう何も言わないでよ
Warnings of suicidal thoughts, words, and mentions. So if you get queasy or cannot handle that, please click off this video and hopefully I'll see you in another one. But yeah. Their morning arrival was normal, like any other day of the week, a Monday spent with Class 3E, otherwise known as the End Class or the Class of Doom. Yes, of course, people would always make fun and belittle the members of said class, but there was an exception, and that was F and Ellen. The invisible student nobody noticed. Nobody ever talked to them because their presence was so thin, so no one would even know that they were standing right in front of them. Because of this, they found it easy to sleep in class, and as a result of that, their grades were low and they were thrown in the End Class. But now they met someone, a boy, who sees them as a light coming into a dark room, lighting up the darkness. Their days and nights were spent alone. They found it rather lonely, but when he appeared, that all changed. He was the joy of their life as well. After they met and spent more time with they found themselves smiling more, or skipping between classes. Were they happy? No. They were in love. They found what they were looking for all their life, someone who notices them and loves them. Their life was being pieced back together. Little by little, they thought all their problems would be solved. But of course, fate had other plans. F in lying on their bed, their head dangling off it while they read a romance manga. Well, they were trying to read it, but he kept interrupting their thoughts. They began to get distracted by these thoughts and forgot to do their homework since they had left for the night. Listening to music while thinking of the boy that made them love living, they were in their own little world, completely out of it. But they loved this feeling. They loved loving him. Their headphones in their ears kicking their legs back and forth. Now lying on their stomach with their hands on their chin, lifting up their smiling face. They had lost track of time, and by then, their playlist playing all the songs, it was 2 a.m. They were shocked and lightly gasped at the time and decided to call it a night and head to bed. The sunlight entered through Effen's window, woke up the sleeping person. They sighed, not wanting to leave their comfortable bed, but got up anyways. They yawned and stretched, getting out of their bed to get ready for the school. They were happy. They would get to see the boy they longed for, but they weren't so happy about the school part. As usual, no one was home. In their household, their parents worked at night and came back the next day after. They went to school and they rarely saw them. They made a quick breakfast and went to school, and once they got there, the foot of the mountain, they spotted the red-haired male drinking strawberry milk, waiting for someone, and their hearts skipped a beat. Could he be waiting for me? No, of course he wouldn't. Why would he wait for an invisible trash like me? They shook off that thought and started going up the mountain when he called out to them, "Ellen!" Taking the last sip of his milk, he threw it behind him. The person stopped in their tracks and felt the heat rise up to their cheeks. He waited for me? That's impossible. They looked behind them to see him walking towards them with a big grin on his face. "I was waiting for you," he said. "Thank you, but you didn't have to," they said abruptly, catching the boy off guard. They started walking away until he grabbed their wrist and jolted them back towards him. They were shocked. They wore a shocked expression on their face as they spun around to face him once more. "Why are you walking away from me?" His voice was laced with sadness. "I'm sorry." Their head was lowered, which saddened him. "What are you sorry for? You don't have to apologize for anything." They looked up at him, and they could tell he was being serious. "I'm sorry because you have to hang out with me out of pity." The boy's eyes widened. Do they really think about themselves like that? Do they think people pity her? But why? I don't get it. Pity? Effin, why would you think so low of yourself? His words struck a nerve, their tears threatening to fall at any moment. Because I'm invisible trash nobody wants. The boy then took them in his arms, slightly blushing at the contact, but he would want to comfort them and let them know that he was always going to be there for them, not out of pity, but out of love. He loved them more than anything else in this sick world. They loved each other, but sadly never did anything about it. Not yet, at least. Effin was shocked by the boys' actions. They were being hugged tightly in hopes of comforting her person. Karma? They yelled in surprise, their face flushing a light pink color. Karma couldn't help but feel like he accomplished something. He accomplished making them feel flustered, but he felt something was off. Are they touch deprived? Is that why they think so low of themselves? His face shifted into one of concern, and he decided to pop the question. F.N., are you touch deprived? The person suddenly lowered their head, only to be brought back up by Karma, lifting their chin with his fingers. Their eyes were flooding with tears, lips quivering. They were crying. The boy suddenly got nervous. He thought he was to blame. Effin, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry, he said, hugging them once again to reassure them that everything was okay. They finally gave in and hugged the boy back. Now it was Karma's turn to blush bright pink. Effin started to sob silently in his arms, wishing that they could disappear from this world. They wanted out of this sick game called life. They were tired of it and all of its tricks. They wanted to die. But of course, nobody knew that. They finally pulled away from each other's warmth, secretly longing for more. Wiping their tears away, Effin suddenly spoke, trying to get out of the sad atmosphere. We should go to class. Yeah, oh, and Effin? They turned back to look at the boy with their puffy red eyes. If you need someone to talk to, or if you need a hug, I'll always be here. Their heart fluttered with happiness. He keeps making me fall more and more in love with him. They gave a lopsided smile and started going towards the class building. Karma, if only you knew what I was going through. The next few months, it was all the same. Karma waited for Effin, and they went up to the mountain together. They were happy the rest of the school year. After a few months, the end class was successful in killing Kora-sensei, and after that, they never saw Karma again. Effin's life started to slowly fall apart, all because of the joy in her life. It was gone. They didn't know where he was, but they missed him, enough to make them want to die from the pain he caused. They would lose sleep from thinking of him. They worried and wanted to see him. They wanted to see the light at the tunnel. But alas, everything was dark. They searched desperately for him, but they could never find him. They were tired of looking. They'd given up, eyes dark, full with sadness, drowning in their own tears at the night. They would fall asleep to escape, staring at their ceiling most nights, longing to see his face once more. At one point, they started to blame themselves for leaving without a word. From then on, their life was a mess, and they wanted it to end. So there was a suicide attempt. I just want to give another warning, disclaimer. Yeah. Effin decided they were tired of waiting for him to come back to them. Spending their last hour of living was spent thinking of him, of how they wanted to despise him, but they couldn't. They loved him too much for that. After they recalled the memory of their first time that he waited for them, their tears came flowing out like a waterfall, sobbing while giggling at the funny remarks he would make, or how he would always try to kill Kora-sensei in such interesting ways. They really did love him. After their flashbacks ended, they wiped their tears and ran out the door of their apartment, climbing up the stairs to the rooftop where they had decided to end it all. Once they reached the top, they opened the door, and the air blew in their face. Breathing it in, Effin felt at peace. They went to the ledge, taking in the scenery before them, recalling those times in kindergarten and elementary when nobody noticed them, but ran along in the streets anyway. They exhaled and breathed in. They exhaled the breath they were holding. They dangled their foot off the ledge, and finally, they jumped. But right when they did, they felt themselves stop abruptly. They looked up and was met with, "Karma?" They shrieked in surprise to see the teary-eyed redhead holding them by their arm. Effin, what were you thinking? If you had actually died, I don't know what I would have done. He started to sob, which caused Effin to start sobbing as well. "Karma, I'll explain it after you pull me up," they said, causing the now young adult to pull them up, and almost immediately he hugged them tighter than ever before. "Don't ever scare me like that again, you idiot." Crying into each other's arms, Karma remembered why he came here in the first place. He wanted to tell them that he loved them. "Hey, Effin," he asked, starting to get a little shy. "I love you." They were both blushing messes, but the awkwardness broke when Effin pressed their lips onto his and said, "I love you too, Demi." So I'm sorry for the background noise. My brother is watching Naruto. #newweeb. He's in his room, but you could still kind of hear it because our walls are thin. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna go edit, and yeah, goodbye, loves.